Hello people of the tube, welcome to this video in which I am going to be looking at a beginner's tutorial of Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. Now I must emphasise the absolute beginner's version of this because there are lots and lots of different versions out there. For instance, you can play it fingerstyle, and Guitar Journey, I will link to the Guitar Journey video below, has been learning to play Wonderful Tonight on the acoustic guitar playing fingerstyle, and he's done a brilliant job, so that's one way of playing it. I also bought a book, First 50 Songs. It's a Hal Leonard book, and I was hoping that that was going to help me with the slides and the bends, which is the version that I want to be playing. Unfortunately that didn't help me because it has a different version where you're just playing individual notes, and one of my subscribers, Michelle, has just uploaded a video to YouTube or Facebook, one or the other. Again, I'll link to that video below, where she is going through that particular version, and that particular version is really nice because it almost follows the words, so it's almost the guitar singing, and it's really beautiful. I probably will pick up the book and learn that version at some point, but the reason why I'm doing this particular version is I want to start to learn about bends and also slides. And when I was looking around for a song that would enable me to learn that new technique, Wonderful Tonight fitted really well because Eric Clapton opens up with a full bend, and although you can do part of it as another bend, I'm doing it with a slide down 2 frets. So quite a lot of people have asked me to do a video on this particular piece that I am learning. I will include from my Patreon page the usual music and tabs that I do. I've actually got those here. It does run over several pages, so this video is going to be broken up a little bit, and I can't play this perfectly by any stretch of the imagination, so this is going to be an absolute beginner doing an absolute beginner's tutorial. If you want something that is more professional, that is more slick, then there's plenty of stuff out there. But one of the things that I will be doing in this video, particularly when we get to the chords, and those of you that are following me will know that I struggle with my chords, I will be looking at 2 or 3 different ways of playing the chords. 2 that I have played and 1 that I would like to play but can't play at the moment. So what I'm going to do is break this video basically up into 2 chunks. First of all, we're going to look at the lick that Eric Clapton does, and it starts the song off with, and then I'll move into the chords afterwards. So we'll start off with the lick. So I'll bring in the close-up shot so you can see what's going on. But what we do is we initially start off with our fingers on the 2nd string, E, A, D, G, B, E, so it's the B string. And we're going to want to place our first finger on the 8th fret, and then our middle finger on the 9th, and our ring finger on the 10th. Now although we're only actually playing the 10th string, we're going to use those fingers to help us to push the strings up. Now there's 2 schools of thought with regards to bending the strings. One is that you can have your fingers at an angle and then you rotate your wrist, which then bends the strings up. I'm actually struggling with that technique a little bit, and for the moment I'm literally just pushing up using my 3 fingers. And when we push this up, we need to bend the string from the 10th fret to the same pitch as the 12th fret. So when we're bending that up, we really need to push that almost to 2 strings up. So it is quite a bend, and it is like cheese wire on your fingers, and for that reason what I've been doing is I've actually been playing through this lick probably 3 or 4 times every half hour just to try and harden up my fingers. It is working, but boy, my fingers are still sore. So, first finger on the 8th fret, middle finger on the 9th, both of those are to support the bend, and then your ring finger on the 10th fret. We then pick that string and immediately go into the bend. And we want to keep the pressure on the bend to keep the note all the way up and all the way back down. If you release the pressure, then you will lose the pitch of the note as you come down, and when you get to the bottom you'll have to pick it again. So that will go something like this, which we don't really want to be doing. Now the other thing that I struggle with, when I'm bending up, I tend to sort of like hammer off on one of the other strings. My fingers are still soft and they get caught in the strings, so ignore that for the moment. So, fret 10, pick, bend, release. And that's the sound that we want. So you get the sound pitch going up and back down. So we then, once we've done that, and so long as you've got the sound as you come down, we then lift our middle and ring fingers off to pick the 8th string, and then we come back to the 10th fret, and we then hold that just for basically 2.5 beats. And when we're holding any note, what we want to do is to try and put some vibrato into there. Now I'm struggling with this because vibrato is where you just move the string up and down slightly, and the idea is to do that from your wrist, and when I'm doing it I tend to want to take all of my fingers off and wriggle my finger that way. Again, this is another new technique in this song and another reason why I've chosen this one. So we've got bends, we've got slides, and now we've got vibrato in the mix as well. So basically what we're doing is fret 10, 2nd string, bend up to the 12th and release, fret 8, fret 10. We then repeat that again, so fret 10 up to 12 and release to 10, 8, and this time we want to play on the 3rd string, the 9th fret. And then we repeat the first part again, 10 up to 12, release to 10, 8, and then 10. And the first time Clapton plays that, we actually hold that last 10th fret note and we leave that to ring for a full bar. Now the other thing that I should mention is when we're playing this, we actually start to play the first bend on the count of 3. So it is 1, 2, 3. 3, 4. Then we do exactly the same thing again. So we start off with 10, 12, 8, 10. 10, 12, 9. And then this time we do that same bend, so 10 up to the 12, release to the 8, release to the 10, then we go 8, we pick the 10, we pick the 12, the 13, and then we want to do a slide from 15 to 17. Back to the 15th fret with our vibrato. And that is the complete lick that opens up this song. So let me just try that again. This isn't going to be perfect, I'm still learning and I'm still very much a beginner. So that basically is our introduction. Then we need to start looking at the chords, and straight after that we need to get, once we've actually got that 15th fret vibratoing, we need to get straight the way up to a G chord. The G chord is hard, and you can play that pretty much however you want to play it. I've been learning it as a 4-finger G chord, so I'm trying to continue with that. And there are a number of ways that you can play the chords. As a complete beginner, you could just simply strum 2, 3, 4, and then we change to the D chord next. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the D chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically the chord progression throughout this song in the main is G to D to C and then back to G. So if we are practicing our chord changes, as I am at the moment to try and get this, and I still haven't nailed this by any stretch of the imagination, is we want to do a D to a G to a D chord changes. And we also want to do a D to a C to a D chord change. Those are the chord changes that you want to be practicing. Now, as well as just simply strumming out, and that's quite nice if you want to sing along, and I can't sing along, but what I would do if I was going to be doing that is to play the opening riff. I'll just play the last part of it. Straight into the G. Now, Eric Clapton starts to sing on the 3rd note, so while you've got that ringing out, he will start, "It's late in the evening." Then you go to the D. She's wondering what clothes to wear. She puts on her makeup and brushes her long, whoa, that didn't sound good, her long blonde hair. And then she asks me, so you get the idea, but if you want to sing along to this, it's not right. But what I would do is I wouldn't start singing when he does on the 3rd, is I would just start singing when you actually start to strum the chord, because it makes it easier. So it's late in the evening, she's wondering what to wear. She puts on her makeup and brushes her long blonde hair. And then she asks me, "Do I look alright?" And I say, back to the D, "Yes, you look wonderful tonight." So basically what we're doing is we're playing that chord progression 3 times, but on the last time we're actually playing G, D, C, D, D. And then as soon as you've sung "Wonderful Tonight," you then wait for 2 counts, and then we're back into the lick, but with the straight rundown. So that is. And then basically we repeat that through the song. So if I just look at the music sheet here, we've got G, D, C, D for we go to a party and everyone turns to C. G, D, C, D, this beautiful lady that's walking around with me. G, D, C, D again, and then she asks me, "Do you feel alright?" And I say, "Yes, I feel." And then G, D, C, D for "Wonderful Tonight." But we don't go into the riff at that point, because we then get this additional section where you continue with G, C, D, C all the way through this. So I feel wonderful because I see the love light in your eyes, and the wonder of it all you just don't realise. And then when you get to is that you just don't realise, you just play the G and the D chord and leave how much I love you just to have just a pause in there. You don't play anything at all, there's no sound. We then go back into the lick for 2 instances where we're doing the full rundown. So basically the only time when you're playing the lick without the run up the neck is when you first play it. After that you're playing the whole thing. And then it's just G, D, C, D again as you go through to the end. And if I just summarise all of that for you with the chord progressions, you're looking at 3 lots of G, D, C, D with the additional D at the end. Then you go into your riff. We then do 5 instances of G, D, C, D, and then 1 instance of just G, D, and then the pause, so for those 3 bars. We then do the bend lick twice. We then do 4 instances of G, D, C, D with the additional D chord. And then when we get into the end, so if I just pick this up towards the end, I'll start off on the G chord where we go wonderful tonight, then the C, 2 lots of the D, oh my darling, you were wonderful tonight. Wait for the 2 counts and then we're back into the lick again and we're playing this through twice. Once at full speed, and then to finish the song we're playing it again. But at this point we just slow everything down. So let me just do that again. So you can see how it just peters off at the end as you're coming up the neck. Now when it comes to strumming, we've been talking about just doing the single chord for the whole of the bar. Once you've got the hang of that and you can get those chord changes quite nice, certainly better than me, then you can move on to the strumming pattern that most of the people teach online. And the strumming pattern is very easy. It is for 1 count, so 1, 2, 3, 4 and. So it's down, 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 up. Now the nice thing about the up strum is if like me you're struggling with the chords, you can use the up strum to change your fingers or to move your fingers. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and on the and we'll move our fingers, and again it's the same, 1, 2, 3, 4 and you're trying to find the C. That would be the strumming pattern, and that gives you on that upstroke, that last and, time to actually move your fingers into the correct location. To be fair, when you become proficient you want to be strumming all the way through, and then as you come in for the 1 you need to have your fingers down, so you would still strum So I can't do this, let's just try it. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1. So basically what you do is 4 and then just after you've strummed up, change so that you're ready for the next chord. That would be the absolute ideal. Now once you've done that, you can then go one step further, because when Eric Clapton is playing this, he's actually playing individual strings in the chords, which I think is arpeggiating, but somebody will correct me if that's wrong. And I don't know which strings he's playing, but it would be something like. Something along those lines, picking up what I would imagine would be 8 notes. So that way you're basically keeping in time, but still with that same chord progression. If you were to read the Hal Leonard book, then you'll see that there are all sorts of chords that are played in here. Not necessarily the straight G, D, C, D, but again we're trying to keep it really, really, really easy. Now normally I would put on the backing track using the Spark application, the Spark amp, but I can't play this quickly enough. I can just about do the riff now, but when it comes to the chords I can't keep up, so I'm not even going to try and bore you with that. But that's how I am learning to play this particular song. You've got the riff to open up, you've then got your chord changes, and at the moment I'm not, well, when I play the up strum is when I'm actually moving my fingers over, and that's enabling me to almost play along but not quite yet, and that's about a week of practicing this. The hardest part was the bends and the slide, but that's the main reason why I'm particularly trying to learn this particular song. And the other thing to bear in mind is when you are sliding from the 15th to the 17th fret, if you really can't get on with the slide, and you've got to keep the pressure on to get that note right, but if you really can't do that, of course you could always bend up a full bend, so you're bending that up from the 15th to the 17th fret, and I've seen other videos where people have taken that method as well, and then where you're just bending all the way through, but I quite like the slide. Anyway, that's this video. I hope that you've found it useful, and that some of you will be able to go on and be able to play against the backing track, as I'm hoping to shortly. But this is my idea of being able to play Wonderful Tonight when you're a real beginner. Most beginners can manage the chords. I struggle with the chords. Most beginners manage the chords okay, so they're going to have to work on the bends and the slide. I got the bend and the slide in about 10 or 15 minutes. Yes, when I'm getting tired, as I am now, my fingers tend to hurt and I do struggle with the bends a little bit, which is why I'm practicing that every half an hour. But it's a nice little all-round song for practicing those new techniques, and don't forget the vibrato in there as well. Except I need to try and do that with my thumb on the back. Vibrato on the notes that you hold. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please drop me a comment below, remembering that it is for absolute beginners and it doesn't necessarily follow the song, particularly the chords, but it is designed for beginners who just want to be able to catch up and then play along. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again on another video very soon. Take care. Bye bye.